Tonight, a suite of measures to attract more visitors to the Eyre Peninsula amid more conversations around border openings. And Broken Hill councillors renew the fight for residents to be allowed easy access into SA.
From our 7 Spencer Golf Studios, your nightly news with Louise Huber begins now.
Good evening. South Australia could soon be welcoming visitors from New South Wales and the ACT, with plans for an easing of border restrictions if cases in other states continue to flatten out. The announcement coincides with a new tourism campaign aiming to tantalise visitors to explore the West Coast.
There's a place where the oceans roar and where the roads are remote.
The Eyre Peninsula like you've never seen it before. A new tourism campaign launched this week, leaving its audience on the edge of their seat. From rugged coastlines to towering sandhills, the raging ocean and the abundance of wildlife, the video showcases the best the region has to offer.
This is the Eyre Peninsula.
I think it really captures the essence and the personality of the Eyre Peninsula.
Sea creatures captivating viewers and oysters tantalising their taste buds is hard to resist the region's charm.
There's a place where your mind can be free and where nature reigns supreme.
Director Elliot Grafton explored the region for several weeks as part of the South Australian Tourism Commission's push to draw visitors to the West Coast.
Just seeing it in person, like the sharks and the seals and stuff like that, I was just like, real taken back. So I reckon, that'll probably be my favourite memories, is just swimming with the wildlife.
It's just one of several new campaigns being launched to encourage cooped up families to explore their own backyard and support operators suffering due to the pandemic.
Businesses are, obviously struggling with the closure of borders and international visitation, but some regions are doing better than others, but it's still tough out there.
But there's hope on the horizon, with South Australia expected to welcome back visitors from New South Wales and the ACT in the next 2 weeks. That all depends on there being no more major outbreaks.
But we're obviously going to be mindful of, the community's, sentiment around visitors, and obviously we've got to, go with the restrictions that the government have put in force.
With school holidays fast approaching, operators say it's the perfect time to hit the road.
We're very lucky in South Australia that we can, drive a day and then we're at this amazing location with no one else around, pretty much.
Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
South Australia's border restrictions with New South Wales will be on the agenda tonight at Broken Hill's council meeting. The city's mayor is hopeful locals will soon be able to enter without needing to self-isolate.
Wanting to cross the border and with quarantine off the table. South Australia's border lockdown will tonight be on the agenda for Broken Hill's councillors at the monthly council meeting. Councillor Tom Kennedy calling on Daria Turley to use her position and political allegiance to push for access.
As the Labor Mayor of Broken Hill, to ask the Labor opposition to put a little bit of pressure on the government, and you can't really do that via letters.
In his motion, Councillor Kennedy says it's disappointing the Mayor has not tried all the influence available. This morning, Daria Turley hit back.
This is absolutely a disgraceful political process, and this Mayor stands by her community and acts on the best interests of the community.
With South Australia's Premier hinting self-isolation could be dropped within 2 weeks, the Mayor says there needs to be a permanent solution for the city's residents.
I want a permanent discussion around a bubble, an MOU, to make sure that we actually won't have to go through this process again where families haven't seen their children, you haven't seen your grandkids, how difficult it is to get to health.
Patrick Reinke, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Labor's only regional South Australian Lower House MP has quit the front bench. Eddie Hughes is stepping down after serving 2 years as Shadow Minister for Regional Development and Primary Industries. He's not leaving politics altogether though, telling In Daily he's shifting his focus to the seat of Giles. The seat, which is already the largest in the state, is expected to take in a section of neighbouring Stuart at the next state election. Blood lead levels in Port Pirie children have decreased in the first half of this year compared with the same time last year. 253 children had reported a result above 5 micrograms per decilitre, an amount necessary for investigation. The average has now decreased from 6 down to 5.5. The results found 2-year-old children have higher levels than children aged up to 5 at 6.2. Still to come tonight, a remote island set to become an official safe haven to protect precious wildlife, and a very special birthday celebration for a much-loved lady. Welcome back. A remote island off the coast of Elliston could soon be transformed into a haven for threatened species. Flinders Island is currently used as a sheep station and has seen its wildlife decimated over the years, with rats, mice and feral cats destroying the once pristine landscape.
As bushfire tore through the nation, more than 18 million hectares was destroyed and 1 billion animals perished in the flames.
There's never been more of a need now to create these safe havens for these endangered species, which we're looking to reintroduce out there.
Now a beacon of hope to repopulate our native wildlife, a haven for species located 30 kilometres off the coast from Elliston. Flinders Island being converted from farmland to a conservation area as part of a $2.6 million project funded by the state and federal government.
It's going to be a great opportunity to people to get out there and really see them in the native habitat that they should be and enjoy that.
But there's a hurdle, with feral rats, mice and cats running rampant on the island, destroying its landscape.
Over the years there's been a lot of stuff brought onto the island to help with the farming and living there. And yeah, we believe that they were a stowaway in the gear.
In partnership with the state government, the owners have agreed to place a conservation agreement on the island, helping to restore bird life and mammal species. A baiting project to eradicate pests is expected to start next year.
In the future, we're really looking towards that ecotourism so that we can bring like-minded people along this journey with us.
Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Ruth Stenning has celebrated a few birthdays in her time, but this one is extra special. Family and friends have spent the day marking her 100th birthday. Certainly one to remember while hearing her secrets of living a long life.
It's a secret that may just shock you.
Well, I've never drank tea or coffee in my life, never. Always had a glass of Merlot with my husband each night before a meal. And also used the grubber in the garden.
Letters piled high and the phone line constantly ringing. It was all smiles for Ruth as she received an abundance of love for her 100th birthday today.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
I've got some friends popping in today to have a nibble and a drink of wine.
Family and friends stopped by to celebrate with a special letter from the Queen and a visit from the town's mayor.
Ruth's been part of my family's life since we come here because, we're all farmers. We all farmed in the same area.
Born in Port Broughton, Ruth grew up farming with her parents between Cleve and Arnu Bay. At the young age of 18, she moved to Cow, where she met her husband.
My husband, he joined the war during 1941. And he was away 4 years, so I had a child 5 months old before he left.
She wrote a book about her life while her husband was at war, a hard time for her and her family. They're now all part of a large family tree with 4 grandchildren, 13 great-grandchildren and 6 great-great-grandchildren, all wishing her a happy birthday.
Ruth's always been one to try and help everybody else. It's just part of her life.
Each visitor bringing Ruth an even bigger smile.
My friend has just come in to give me a big kiss.
Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Police in Whyalla are appealing for information to help locate missing man Peter Turner. The 62-year-old was last seen at the BWS bottle shop at the Westland Shopping Centre at around 8 o'clock on Thursday, the 4th of August.
Peter was reported missing to us on the 19th of August after someone in the community became concerned after not seeing him for several weeks. Peter is itinerant, which did add to the delay in the matter being brought to police attention.
Police say they have concerns for his welfare and ask anybody with information to contact them. Stay with us after the break. The Perfect Light Film Festival rescheduled for another time, and Corn Kindergarten gets arty. Hello again. The coronavirus has forced an annual film festival in Broken Hill to be postponed until next year. The Perfect Light Film Festival was supposed to light up the silver screen in a few months, but it will now be held in March.
The show will go on, it's just been postponed for now.
The fact that this thing can still go ahead, albeit a few months later than otherwise planned, is awesome.
The Perfect Light Film Festival was scheduled to be held on the first weekend of November, but due to COVID-19, organisers have pushed back the event. March 19 to 21 is when Sturt Park will see the big screen return. Local filmmakers have already marked it on the calendar.
As a filmmaker, there's no better thing than sharing your work with an audience, and outside in beautiful Sturt Park is a really great way to do that.
Perfect Light sees a variety of short 8-minute movies shown across the evening, from light-hearted comedy sketches to serious dramas. With entries opening in mid-September, there's still plenty of time to get an idea and start shooting. And you don't need big budgets and expensive cameras. What's in your pocket is a good starting point.
It is possible to tell an amazing story in less than 8 minutes, and you don't have to make it that long. And the best thing is that everyone's got a camera these days in their pocket, and they've got access to, most people, a editing suite.
Patrick Reinke, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Corns Kindergarten has taken part in this year's Salah Festival for a 3rd year in a row. This year's event is looking a little different, with artworks plastered around the town.
Getting their hands dirty in the name of art. These kindergarten students learning about science whilst also creating a masterpiece.
Occasional care children completed their resin art logs, which revolved around the idea of suction and pulling off to see a pattern produced from the suction activity.
It's a rainbow yolk.
Playing with a range of colours.
Purple, white, green, blue and white.
The art pieces will be shown around town at several locations, including the Kwandong Cafe, Transcontinental Hotel, Live CN, as well as the Corn Tourist Information Centre.
This year, due to obviously COVID restrictions and whatnot, we decided to still host our event, but seek the support of the community in having host sites.
The children will be up to make a commission on their pieces for sale.
We talked to them about being a professional artist and actually making money. We really want to promote the arts in the best possible light and show them that it can be a career choice.
Some already having plans for what the funds may bring.
I'm going to buy ice cream.
The remaining funds raised by the art pieces will go towards the Kindies Community Garden.
Salah fundraising has contributed to our irrigation for our edible community garden. It will contribute to the purchasing of vegetables for our beds.
Laura Milovanovic, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Port Lincoln City Council has announced its new Chief Executive, with Matthew Morgan set to take over the reins in October. Mr Morgan is the current CEO of Karoonda East Murray District Council and brings 17 years of local government experience. Interim CEO Rob Donaldson has been filling the position since the departure of Stephen Rufus in May. Stay with us after the break. Pat will have this week's Fuel Watch and we'll have the weather with Brit. Welcome back. Time now to see how things are shaping up when we head to the petrol pump. Here's Patrick Reinke with this week's Fuel Watch.
As August starts to draw to a close, the region's petrol prices have started to go back down. Starting with unleaded, and no town or city across the Spencer Gulf or even the far west has seen a rise. Port Lincoln is down to $1.16, falling 2 cents from last week. Whyalla is also averaging the same figure. The Steel City doing a little better though, dropping by 3. Port Pirie is on $1.16 as well. Port Augusta is the most expensive in the Gulf, but looks to be on the way down, still paying $1.24. Broken Hill paying the highest prices on the border litre, $1.26. Kadina is the cheapest, $1.15. Adelaide has plummeted in the last 7 days. Turning over to diesel now, and there's mixed results. Port Lincoln and Port Pirie have both witnessed no movement whatsoever this week. They're both still paying $1.17. Port Augusta seems to be on the way down this week, but the change is small. Whyalla doing quite well, decreasing by 2 cents. The price now $1.19, a cent more than Kadina, which is also up. Broken Hill still forking out the most, the second place to see a spike, the average now $1.27, and it could go even further. Adelaide doing very good, sitting on $1.16. Finishing off with a quick look at auto gas, and it's been one of the quietest weeks in recent memory. Only one spot seeing a change, and it was Adelaide, ticking down to just 73 cents a litre. Everywhere else is even Steven. Port Lincoln, Port Augusta and Kadina are all paying 89 cents, Whyalla is at 87, Broken Hill 83 and Port Pirie on 82. Now remember that these prices are the regional averages and they do not reflect any one particular outlet. And if you do find a spot that does sell unleaded, auto gas or diesel for cheaper, be sure to let us know on our Facebook page.
Now for a look at what's happening in the weather, here's Britt.
Thanks Louise and good evening. It's been a fine and mostly sunny day across the region, with Whyalla and Woodna both recording highs of 23 degrees. Port Augusta reached 22 today. 21 degrees was the top for Port Lincoln, Port Pirie and Kadina today, with a high of 19 at Adelaide and 17 at Broken Hill. Looking at today's satellite images, we can see patchy cloud over the Spencer Gulf with a weak low pressure trough. Mostly clear and dry about the rest of South Australia under high pressure. Moving on to tomorrow, and we'll start with the Gulf waters. Northerly winds tending northeasterly at around 10 knots, increasing to 15 knots later in the morning. Seas below 1 metre, with swells south to southwesterly at around 1 metre in southern waters. So let's see what tomorrow looks like near you. Partly cloudy at Port Lincoln with a top of 17 degrees. Cleve mostly sunny and 20. Woodna mostly sunny with a high of 23 degrees. Mostly sunny at Whyalla tomorrow, looking at a top of 23 as well. Port Augusta sunny and 25 tomorrow. Mostly sunny at Kadina with a high of 18 degrees. Sunny at Port Pirie tomorrow, a top of 22 degrees. Clare sunny and 17. Broken Hill also sunny tomorrow with a high of 21 degrees. Taking a quick look ahead to Friday now. Sunny about the Flinders, Mid-North and Broken Hill forecast districts, and mostly sunny elsewhere. A top of 25 degrees for Woodna, Port Augusta 24, Broken Hill and Port Pirie both 21, Whyalla 20 degrees, Kadina with a high of 18, Port Lincoln and Adelaide both 17. And to the weekend now, sunny with strong winds on Saturday. Warming up too with a high of 28 degrees forecast for Woodna. Port Augusta 27, Whyalla with a top of 26 degrees, Port Pirie 25, Broken Hill 24, and a top of 23 degrees for Port Lincoln, Kadina and Adelaide. A little cooler on Sunday, fine and partly cloudy across the region, with a max of 24 degrees for Broken Hill, Port Augusta 21, Woodna, Whyalla and Port Pirie all with tops of 19, Kadina with a high of 18 degrees, Port Lincoln and Adelaide both 17. And Louise, that's the forecast. Back to you.
All right, thank you for that, Britt. And that wraps up your local news for this Wednesday evening. Thank you for joining us. We'll have updates later. See you then.